De regels, dit is niet
Now you have a great story to tell to your father. After a few minutes it was over. Now we returned to the back seat, still bouncing with joy. We parked in the dark garage that we drove into from the elevated road. Father and adult carried suitcases. My mother, my sister and I followed them in bewilderment. Just as we reached the exit, we heard a shriek, a long, chilling shriek that seemed to come from the ground floor. I rolled around and cried. Keep walking, had your rumbles. The man came out of the hand. Three men I've never seen before stand in the living room. They said a stiff hello to us, who was sitting on one corner of the sofa. Baba, I shouted. Papa, I drove the car. My father didn't respond. I was arrival for ages. Right, he said. Time to get down to the real world. He was so flexible with my father. He asked, what's wrong? Papa. It's an excerpt of that, yes. Yeah.
So, you just read the start of the book when Martin arrives in the Netherlands, and the garage is the first confrontation with Amsterdam, with the Bijlmer, where he'll grow up. I do know you yourself have grown up here, and my question is twofold. Why did you choose to set the book in the Bijlmer? And why the garages?
Yeah, should I hold it? Yeah. I did grow up in the Bijlmer. I arrived here in 1983, and yeah, actually my first step in the Bijlmer was in a garage nearby in the flat Veerde, and I grew up there, lived there until my 18th year. So, and I had seen the Bijlmer change in those years, in like 30 years, and so I wanted to show the real face of the Bijlmer in my novel. Yeah.
Okay, and why the garages? Because the garages actually feature in your novel quite a bit, and they come back a few times. Yeah, a few times. One of the reasons you might just have mentioned this idea of the garages being connected to the houses, but the extract you just read was a little bit scary for a young boy, and I was just wondering about these negative emotions that the dog, the scary. You just woke up Martin just woke up from his sleep, and he's in this dark nook of Amsterdam. So, do negative emotions are they important? Are they important for remembering childhood? Are these negative emotions important for the heritage of the Bijlmer, I should say?
Ja.
Yeah, I think in some way it is, because negativity is a strong emotion. It leaves a mark in your memory. And I remember growing up here in the Bijlmer, I was scared to enter the garage and be. To be here, really. Yeah, it's nice and interesting to be here because it has changed a lot. But the way the Bijlmer changes, about buildings and people. I think it was too radical. This is
sfeer van en dan over 5 minuten gaan we afronden en reflecteren op de dag. Dus komt u daarvoor oh, excuse me. They're buttons, and they've also already been mentioned when we're talking to May and Vyjayanthi about acting. Should we seize the moment, or should we make monuments? And I'm going to ask you to put on your button whichever way you prefer. So, is it for you going to be moment or monument? Yours is hard to see, Eric. Your button. So, somewhere visible. Once the spekhoek is being served out. I hope this one works as well. Is there anyone?
15 years youth theater in this building.
Wonderful.
That's my moment.
Oh. Why is that? Because you like the theatrical moment? Yeah.
This building is special.
And it's this very special building,
yeah.
the Kempering garage.
The Kempering garage, but also, as Murat said, he knows me from my flat. We lived in the same flat as Moni.
Okay, so you know Murat?
Yeah, when he was a little boy.
When he was a little boy, and instead of looking back, you're seizing the moment to...
I still live here.
Wonderful.
Because I'm going away with 6 packets when I die.
Okay. And do you think Kempering should be here?
Besides all the actions we have taken against the parking garage, I think one parking garage has to stay here and be memorable for the future.
Wonderful. So you, with Murat, say it's important that Kempering stays, and we should decide. So, okay, wonderful.
But don't make it a monument. Like Peter, the architect here in the room, we made very nice plans to let the building survive. Learns to be. But if you make a monument out of it, you cannot change things anymore. Then there are very strict rules. And one thing we don't like in the Bijlmer are strict rules.
I'd like to have this part of the Bijlmer as an extension of the Bijlmer Museum. parts. And the art museum part is from here, this station to the next station, Krijgen is to Gamshoek. And we think it would be better to put the border a bit more to this side with the 4 towers and the mosque and the garage. And at the other side with Vlughoeven, now called Geldershoofd for Graaftuin, and the Gouden Leeuw Groenhof building and the 2 garages that are on that side. And we are afraid if we make the monument, it will be more difficult to keep the building for the neighborhood. So we would like to have the building for the people. That's what we like. By which means, I don't know, by moment or by monument, but just like I told you.
You want to seize the moment, not to make a monument.
Well, I'd like to make the monument. I'd like to make the subway, it belongs to this neighborhood. This cannot be anywhere else in the world, only Krijgen. And Krijgen is a very important place on the map.
Yeah,
for Belgium.
and both Harold and Murat also can.
But which has already very long history. And you must be aware that there is very big international attention to what's going on here. So people from France, from the Scandinavian countries, every year people from England come with students to show what we are doing here. So we must be very proud of what we are having.
Thank you. Thank you.
You just said about, or someone just said about how in 50 years, over 50 years, everything that was here was demolished. And I'm thinking of it now from the perspective of what we're doing to our planet and what we're doing to our resources. If the rate of, buildings are going to collapse anyway, people. Buildings are not here to stay. But if the rate of demolition is that fast, and on a planet whose resources are depleting so quickly, I think we have to think about environmental responsibility as well. That's something that I haven't heard today at all.
Thank you. Thank you for bringing that into the discussion.
You know, and why not take advantage of that? That's my first. I mean, even when all of the informal settlements that I showed in places where I work, those are like actually monuments to the powers, the kind of democratic powers of architecture in some ways, that it's something so basic and something so much a part of who we are as human beings, that we can build and rebuild and repair and reuse and do all kinds of things, and that is architecture. Recycle, yeah. We can, you know, and so that's why I think it's always going to be of the moment, even if it becomes a monument, you know. We may not see it exactly. I think we have to change the way we look at monuments.
And in some way that moment stands for process.
Yeah.
Not so much.
Well, that's not the reason why I argue for monument. It's just to add something to the discussion. And that is that it is, if we interpret monument, as it seems to be done here, as something of something fossilized, of something with no, you know, of something rooted in the past, with no feeling for the now and the future, then it's something that we have created of the word monument. But I would argue that Kempering is also a monument of all the memories located in the garage. And every monument is also something that tells us something about past, of where we come from, of where we rooted, of all the identities that are in the object.
So maybe we have to have a more flexible attitude towards
I think so.
What a monument is, and we
Right.
have to revise this concept of heritage that we have been talking about.
Right.
So we're not all negotiating about monuments and heritage itself.
I think heritage is a dynamic process. So in that way, we're always in the moment.
Okay, wonderful.
Hi everybody, my name is Dennis Kalaman. I'm from GroenLinks, I'm a city council member. And together with me is Nenita Rose from the PvdA. And we're both in the coalition right now. I'm not trying to throw dirt, but I'm just saying, like, more appreciative perhaps, of certain spaces that we have in the city that are either monuments, maybe not bureaucratic monuments, as in on paper monuments, but to people they are monuments. So I think that's a very important distinction to make, and also important for this council to think about. So what happened now is that the city council said, we are bringing the decision back to actually the Stadsgevoel of Zuidoost, and to make it a more democratic process of what's going to happen with the Kempering. And I think, I'm going to ask Nita as well, but I think for both of us that's a great change.
Yes, definitely it is. But I also would like to add a personal note, because about Kempering.
We like to hear emotions and personal notes.
Yes, I'm not going to cry, but I've had a very long
no emotions,
for
it's not
this.
only crying.
I know. When I came here 35 years ago from the city to the Bijlmer, following the love of my life, I came to live at Kralenbeek, the high flat over there. And every day we walk past Kempering to get the metro here. So it has a very dear, warm place in my heart. And when we were discussing, is it a monument or a moment, to keep the moment, I also would like to say, as the last speaker said, to me it's a very dear monument, which I would like to keep this moment and the moments to come for all our children. We have to keep this and use it as we've used it in the past, in a very flexible way for the people who are living here, and make it a creative space, also adapting to the moments to come.
Wonderful.
So that's what I would like to say.
Wonderful.
Thanks so much.
Yeah, thank you. And also relating to Murat, what Murat said, like.
So my assignment to this particular object, Kempering, totally changed in a few months. And it's funny to hear that a couple of months ago, my political boss would ask me, when did you get this garage gone? You know, now we need to take it down, and you need to take it down fast. And there's two reasons that it hasn't been teared down yet. One, the people over here, and you guys as well, who are trying to keep the garage and find a different purpose for it.
And you're looking around you at inhabitants of the Bijlmer.
Yeah, well, everybody who's joining this
who's worshipping there, who's going to the gym there, who's exercising there.
Indeed, indeed. And the other reason, of course, there is another owner of this building. It's the city of Amsterdam, but there's also a church in there, the Church of Pentecost, and they own a part of the garage. So we are working together to get a solution, looking towards the future. And for me, it's very much a moment. We are right now looking into the technical situation of the garage. So we ask a number of experts to give us a report on that one, which gives us an insight how good or how bad the garage is, and that makes clear what the possibilities are towards the future. The next thing we will do is come up with a process together with the neighborhood and all stakeholders in this adventure, so to say. To decide how we're going to make next steps. I'm a project manager. Normally my work is like going to a result in the end, and we have to design now together some steps, how we're getting there, and have a great result at the end of that process.
Okay, and Danny said we fed back to the borough that this process has to be more democratic. Are you going to consider emotions in this process, and how are you going to address them?
Emotions are there. I mean, I don't have to look for it.
You betcha.
I mean, we got them already. I mean, they're around here. There's people who are very motivated and willing to take every necessary step to stop it from being demolished, I think. So that's not a thing, I think.
But you will be listening.
Yeah. Of course. I mean, our next step is just to design together a process.
Yeah.
So that means talking with the stakeholders and agreeing on the steps we should take.
Wonderful.
So I'm back from the focused thing, like demolishing the garage, to it's wide open.
Opening up your views and your
So the planning is a bit down, I have to say.
I see.
But we got time and we got political support to have time. So
Okay.
that's the phase we are in.
Okay, wonderful. And I also have to thank you, because it wasn't
it was very special that we could go and visit and hear Murat speak in the garage because of that technical research that had been done, and the borough had put the construction into place so that we could stand there. So I really have to acknowledge the borough of Zuidwest for that as well. So thank you. Is there someone who wants to respond to what Harry?
So I'm so glad that I can say that it's not over yet.
Yeah.
So we continue to negotiate, but I think that for me at least this day helped me to take a position, even if it is a position somewhere in between, that is allowed, I think, for the moment. So the moment and the monument can be together. And thinking back to this morning, many things can go together. So different emotions can be there together, and the one emotion is not more or less than the other emotion, maybe. And for me, coming from the Reinwardt Academy, it's also nice to see that we switched during the day from theoretical notions and going very deep, sort of reflecting on what is heritage, what is a community, and all these ideas, intersectionality, and on the same hand, ending now here in a very sort of pragmatic or practical situation. Okay, what's next and what is the situation? And then some ethical reflections also, the impact of our behavior and the decisions, so the environmental issues that came up. So there is also something to new topics, I think, related to this, maybe topics that we have been not discussing yet as much as we should have or we might have. So always a new horizon, and that is also something I took from this day. New perspectives, international perspectives, and at the end of the day also maybe a bit more sort of awareness again of the interconnectedness of us being here, Mumbai, Cairo. We are dealing with the same and yet different issues. So these comparisons, for me they were very
fruitful comparisons, so that you can articulate again and visualize what is happening here, what kind of networks and emotion networks and emotion networking has to be done and is being done here.
Yes, and that is exactly the idea of this emotion networking, that we can visualize how we are connected and not only feel it but see it and then feel it again and maybe how we are connected in a different way after this long day. I hope so.
Can I say one more thing?
Then you can respond to that, please, too.
Maybe so. If you drive back later on, look around, there's still a couple of high-rises. There is a redeveloped parking garage.
Still there.
Still there. So don't go home and think we will tear it down.
60%.
Okay. Okay. Well, thank you.
The world. Introduce a new word. Over a year, it will be in the Vandalen. And then you connect everything from moments and monument. Monument, yeah, it's a little bit difficult to pronounce, I realize, but the monument. The monument.
Monument. It sounds better when you have a dialect from Amsterdam. I think it sounds lovely. But it's very difficult for me to it's a very positive notion in my head, has become very positive in my head. Thank you to the audience, to our wonderful speakers, and our keynote speakers, May and Vyjayanthi, who've flown over here and then went into a very cold garage and still were amazed by everything around them. So thank you so much for that beautiful perspective and adding this international dimension to our case study. Thank you to the borough for allowing us to go into the garage, and it was a very inspiring day. When you travel back, we have a little bit of time here, but when you're traveling back, I can actually see the metro from here, it's over there. But when you're in the metro, you have a beautiful view of Kempering, so maybe take a photo, reflect on it, and feel a little bit emotional.
So you can take the metro towards the central station. And do enjoy the beautiful view, and do enjoy your spekkoek and your spekglaas. And thank you so much. It was so